Well, thank you very much for staying, and we are looking at, my producer knows I'm dyslexic, and they keep giving me all these funny words. Proliferation of small arms and elections 2016, and that's what we are looking at. Now, I'm going to introduce my guest, and then I'll call for a video to set the conversation rolling, right? Sitting directly next to me, just to my left, is Dr. Franklin Baini, who's a security analyst, Africa Center for Conflict Resolution, Peace and Security. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And then, first time on the show, so we're going to find Amman Temusa, so he owes us a bottle of gin. And it's Mr. Bafo Di Amwa, Chair of International Advisory Council, International Action Network on Small Arms. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good. Amman Temusa. So you owe us me and my viewers a bottle of gin. But then his wife has been here before, so we'll waive that. But let's get this video to set the conversation rolling so you know how serious this is. Don't go.
The government has been concerned about the recent spate of gun-related incidences resulting in injuries and deaths of our citizens. In addition, in recent times, the security agencies have picked up intelligence on the smuggling of illicit small arms and light weapons into the country by criminals and certain rogue elements and groups. Besides the significant number of yearly preventable small arms related deaths, the illicit access to small arms and light weapons has an adverse social impact. It promotes crime, hinders disputes resolution, creates mistrust among communities, and undermines peace efforts at both the national and community levels. The amnesty not only represents a first remedial step for gun control, the government recognizes that there may be persons who desire to regularize or modify their small arms ownership, and it is expected that all citizens in possession of unregistered weapons, as the law stipulates, should voluntarily take advantage of the amnesty and register their weapons without fear of being sanctioned by the law at this time. Consequently, the amnesty is generally for persons in possession of unregistered weapons, as well as those with expired licenses. It offers an opportunity to those persons to register, renew, or surrender these weapons in line with due process. The amnesty is for the period from 22nd August 2016 to 23rd September 2016. This is for a period of 32 days. Within these 32 days, all citizens who are in possession of weapons that have not been registered with the police have the pleasure to come and register them at the various police centers where weapons are registered. Beyond this date, should there be anyone in possession of illicit weapons, and the police or any person comes across that weapon, the full rigors of the law will be visited on such a person. And as I know it, any person who flouts that regulation or law has a sentence of 10 years imprisonment.
Okay, it's proliferation.
That's right.
Proliferation. So I've been corrected. Well, it's all good. Well. Thank you. Dr. Franklin, let me start with you. I mean, they're saying, no. Let me go to.
I think.
Yeah, let me go to Bafo.
Exactly.
Yes. Estimated about 2 million illegal arms dotted around the country. Is it about right?
About right, but normally, according to the study by Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Center, they estimated that we have about 1.2 million weapons in this country, and we don't know where they are.
Illegal.
Illegal.
Now, are these the homemade guns, or this could be proper guns as well, all mixed up?
All mixed up.
Unregistered?
Unregistered, yes.
Who has them?
That's a good question. We don't know who really has these weapons, but they are in the communities. And the evidence thereof, according to the study, was that they went to do focus group discussions in various communities in this country, focusing on conflict areas, and from what they gathered, they were able to extrapolate that if we take the legal importations to this country and from what the community people were telling them and what normally we discover when there's a conflict, it's possible that we have these arms in this illegal weapons in this country.
Should we be concerned? Is it too many? Should we be concerned, or it's about right?
Oh, we should be concerned. Even if it's one gun we don't know the owner, we should be concerned because we know guns can cause serious damage to human life and property. And if it's 1.2, then we should be more concerned.
Is it that we are trigger happy as a people? That's why we all want to own guns? Well, what's this gun culture?
There are several reasons why we have this kind of situation. If you go back into history and look at the war we had in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and now we have had experiences of conflict in Burkina Faso, in Cote d'Ivoire, and other places in this sub-region, and now even the Libya crisis. All these have contributed to guns moving around in this sub-region, and that's why we have quite a number of guns in our country like that.
Generally, will people own guns for protecting or for going to harm somebody? I mean, if I had a gun, it's just for when maybe some bad guys come to attack me. I don't seem
Well, there are several reasons why people would like to own guns. The fundamental reason normally people give is that they want to be able to protect themselves, their family, and their property. Because we know that there are trigger-happy people in society. So yes, people argue that. But also, when we have land disputes and we have conflicts and we have all these misunderstandings between communities, sometimes it results into war, mini wars and maxi wars. And that means that the parties that form part of this conflict, everybody wants to arm themselves to be able to feel superior to the challenge.
Doc, security-wise, I mean, the guns have been with us. I mean, if we have estimated 1.2 million guns, I don't think they came within a week. It's been built on for many years. We have our usual crime. So, I mean, should we be concerned? I mean, they can probably cohabitate side by side with our guns.
Thank you very much, Nana, once again, being part of your program.
Thank you, too.
My brother here made mention of one point. Let me try to also look at it and on the quantum of the guns that is really in the system. He was quoting 1.2, but at the same time, this Kofi Annan is also quoting 2.3. So there's a conflicting, which I will, if they are listening to me, I will plead with them to also to revisit the actual data there, so that when one is using it for his analysis or sort of will be able to be sure, because he's quoted 1.3. And Dr. Kofi Annan also quoted 2.3. So where do we?
Okay.
So I'm trying to throw it
so
there.
Let's work with 1 million.
Very well.
Assuming we have 1 million.
Very well, very well. So these things are in a system which indeed pose a threat as far as security is concerned. Basically and fundamentally, we have God protecting us, that's spiritually. But then we're looking at the physical protection, which of course we are entitled to as a citizen of this country. We have the state agencies, the police and all stuff who have been taking care of us. But then certain situations requires us to be able to take security as a matter of concern. That is why when the police indeed want to grant you a weapon, they subject you to a critical analysis, kind of assessment to ensure that really you qualify for. Because we want to make sure the basic is we have a sound mind. Because this is a machine and it can trigger off. That reminds me of, as you're talking about, is it as when they concern? Yes, today, the man who really developed or invented, manufactured AK-47, in actual sense, is the name. It's a Russian name. I tried to keep it as in Akov Kelov or something like that. It's a name like that. And it was at the age of 47. So therefore, the name struck the 47th year.
Kalashnikov or something?
Yeah, something like that. There's a very big Russian name. But at the age of 47, he developed that. Today, as I'm talking to you, that man has come to know Christ. And he keep on crying and crying. Why is he crying? Because if you can imagine the countries all over the world who have made use of this gun and what harm this gun, AK-47, has caused in human life, he feels so bad that he is the cause. It's beat his imagination and also conscience. So indeed, when these few, even this 1 point something is in our system, it calls for a concern as far as security is concerned, because the Constitution, we are supposed to be safe and protected in our communities and wherever we work, when we sleep, and our state agents. But I tell you, the number of police as per citizenry, as the United States also quote, is not what we see here. The United States quotes what? 500 as per one policeman. And that of the world, today, we in country, is 700 per policeman. So you can imagine, therefore, that even against the population of 27, 28 million, you can see the mathematics there. So it calls, therefore, if you are qualified, you go through the process lawfully, and you be assessed, and you are qualified. But then, I will add that, even after you are assessed, they must go beyond. I think the assessment must be subject to review every day, because as we sleep and wake up, the economy, the society is undergoing metamorphosis, which calls for what? Things to be amended. But I don't know. It looks like they are, using the same criteria every day.
Dr. Let me come in here.
Yes,
you see, this UN ratio of 500 citizens to one policeman. If you go to the worlds where this ratio apply, the citizens are disciplined, whether there's a policeman there or not. So that's even if the traffic light is red in the middle of the night, they would stop, whether there's a policeman. With us, we're so indisciplined, so that we may even need probably 2 policemen to one citizen. What I'm driving to is, don't we need these guns for security? Because, some mancha will sell their land, sell it all, not give provisions to any fire service policeman. By the time a policeman gets to your house, you need a gun to protect yourself. So with us, shouldn't we encourage people to arm themselves rather than discourage them?
Yeah, one side, yes. On the other side, no. One side, yes, I will say that. Then it calls for time, a time frame for real education, sensitization of the citizenry. Because this our level of economy and the country where we are in the world, we are not seem to be matured to be able. It's right, we need to protect us. But then I will encourage that the state institutions like NCC or the police and all must subject the citizenry for education on the television, in the media, in one-on-one churches, to educate the citizenry as far as gun is concerned. And when we have captured that really, then of course we can now go into the next stage of the process for the citizenry to understand the process of securing arms. And then again, when you are given on that, they also teach them how to use it. And again, what kind of guns that are going to be by law to be permissible to be given to the citizenry. Not every other gun, because we have different guns. We have the maximum and the minimum size guns. We have very big ones. So what kind of gun will be qualified to be given to, or will be permissible to be given to citizenry if they qualify?
Samuel, is it maybe because we have demonized it a little bit, or made it's very bad to handle a gun? That's why everybody's hiding their gun. Otherwise, everybody would have gotten a gun and say, oh, hi, Corporal, I have a gun, I'm going to keep it at home. I mean, have we put some stigma on it, making people automatically assume that if I have a gun is wrong and therefore let me hide it?
Like the minister said, given the objective why they are declaring the amnesty, you know, there are a lot of people who, let me first say that ignorance of the law is no excuse. But you still have people who have no idea even what the law says. Of course, the Ghana laws permit everybody who wants to own a gun to go through the legal process and own one. Somebody's parent dies and leaves them with a gun, and perhaps the guy doesn't know what to do with the gun. So the gun is sitting in the house.
That's right.
Somebody travels overseas, meets some good friends, and they say, oh, you can get a gun in this shop, and they'll go and get a gun. He doesn't even know the procedure. And he brings the gun home, and he's sitting in the house. But the law is very clear as to who can own a gun and under what conditions. So I don't think anybody has frightened anybody in terms of why you should hide a gun. But like I said, if you have inherited one, if you bought one without knowing what to do or what the law says, then you are stuck with it.
Well, I don't think anybody is actually frightening anybody. But, I mean, even when I was growing up, there was only, one of my dad's friends who had a pistol. And, there was just something about it. It's like, it felt so wrong, or it felt so distant. It wasn't normal.
This is what I was talking about, education. Much people are not educated on the subject matter.
And I wouldn't say like I didn't get education. I mean, I got some bit
guns
of education.
No, let's say guns are not toys.
Exactly.
We used to associate guns with properly trained security officers. So for a civilian to possess a gun was a little bit out of the ordinary. So definitely, we needed to make sure that we have proper procedures to make sure that if a civilian wants to possess a gun, then it's done under proper conditions.
Yeah.
Is that where we failed?
In many ways, I think yes. Education hasn't gone very
much down the drain.
And in this country, I don't know whether we have any place that if I bought a gun tomorrow, I can go and learn how to use the weapon.
Exactly.
I don't think we have even training centers.
Not at all. Unlike other parts of the world community where you can go to a store, right there, the person selling it has been permitted by law to license, do everything for you. So before you take it out, it's all everything that you need to do has been done. Right. And then you go to it, and they can even also be mandated to show you how to work. Like you're saying, a place to sell you how to shoot it.
Safely shoot it.
Exactly. And when you take you a week or two, you'll be able to, okay. But here we don't have such. And what you are talking about, it's only you had it. What about others? And many. And again, as we growing up with every day and then, young ones are coming, reproduction is taking place. So the cycle continues. It should be a cyclical program that must go on as far as that subject is concerned, so that people become knowledgeable. Yeah. And then, of course, then that subject you are talking about, that issue of whether it's worthy for one to yes, then it becomes a yes, we can be qualified to go for it. But now, I'm afraid, and people also have the very negative thoughts of that. Maybe has very impression of, or very malice with somebody, and you will just have a gun with it, and you will be planning. And if when you get angry and drink some bottles of, you just abuse it, and then before. So we need to sensitize the mind of the citizenry as far as arms is concerned, and if really one will be permitted. Of course, the law says go through the law, but then entire community, entire citizen must be. And then we also have to look at the local manufacturers. That is also another area. They are making they are making a daily bread. But then, is the law that they are following or not? Because there is a law that also, guides them. But most of them, I tell you, are not under the law. They are on their own. And they condone and connive with the armed robberies to produce for them, and they do their own thing.
Mr. Moore, with this amnesty, will the legal arms, I mean, if you go and say, I want to register, I don't want to hand it over, I mean, these are these rickety ones, will they be allowed to register them, or those ones you just have to hand them in and walk away?
Well, the minister proposed 3 things. If you have a gun which is unregistered, you go and register. If you own one and you have an expired license, you can also go and get a fresh license. if you don't want the gun because it's old, just surrender it. I think those were the three proposals the minister made. So yes, we encourage people who have no use of their weapons to surrender them.
No, I'm talking about the rickety ones, which may not be safe. They've been manufactured in someone's home. But that's what he wants to keep.
Are you referring to the local?
Yeah, the locally manufactured
The local
ones.
manufactured guns have got two problems. One, it doesn't respond to any international standard in gun manufacture, even though it can kill. According to our police sources, almost 80 to 90% of all crime scenes of late, when they go there, the weapon used is locally made.
Whoa.
Secondly, they don't use the right materials. So there's a higher risk in using these locally produced weapons. So yes, we need to encourage them to appreciate the dangers so that people don't go encouraging production of these locally made weapons.
So those ones will definitely be registered?
Those ones don't have any basis for registration yet.
Having no
But
serial,
if you
no serial number to be registered?
Exactly, exactly. So if you have one, please surrender that.
But I don't know. But if still to add a little bit about on this local manufacturers, I really want to find out from your end or from whether they have data monitoring and evaluating these group of people in this country, because they also factor to the proliferation we're talking about. So do we have them, and have they been put together as sort of an association where the police can go in to regulate them, educate them, counsel them as to how to go about it as far as the law is concerned?
Oh, teach them to make it properly?
Well, the National Commission on Small Arms over the years have been working with local blacksmiths.
Very well.
And we have some associations in Ashanti region and other places.
Okay.
The challenge we have is that Ghana hasn't taken a decision to set up an arms industry.
Good.
So these weapons, let me say by law, are illegal. But what we're trying to do as a commission is to try to tell these association members, look, we are trying to do advocacy. If we succeed, we can get some ministries like agriculture, health, to provide some licenses for them to turn their skills into making agricultural implements or hospital screening and stuff like that. In fact, we have evidence to show that they can even make handcuffs. And the handcuffs they make are very, very effective and efficient. So we are still in conversations with the various ministries and with Parliament, and we are working on that. It's not an easy process to follow, because here we are talking of economics.
Exactly.
The local manufacturer is able to make some 150 or 250 cedis, you know, if he produces one of these guns. So to take that scale away, you need to replace it with something that will motivate them to really change course.
I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, we'll find out this amnesty thing. Is there any proof anywhere that it works? If you have a gun and you probably have a rifle, you're shooting your grass cutters for a living, and then all of a sudden you have to hand it in because it was made by the local blacksmith. I mean, that's the amnesty work. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying, and thanks for joining this very important and needed discussion for the nation. We're looking at all these small arms dotted about and how dangerous it could be. However, an amnesty is being granted from the 22nd of August 2016 to 23rd November 2016. 32 days. Just hand in your gun, walk away. Mr. Moore, does it work? Or has it worked anywhere before?
Before I do, let me clarify the figure issue we spoke about at the beginning.
Okay.
Before the second study by Kofi Annan, which talks of about over 2 million, we were working with the 1.2 million figure.
Okay.
So that's what happened to the differences in the figures. But
all right.
Now with the amnesty, let's clarify that amnesty is not weapon buyback. Amnesty is not weapon collection. Amnesty simply means we are trying to remedy a situation we have come to observe, that a lot of people may be having weapons they haven't registered, or weapons with licenses which have expired, and they need to regularize these things. And so it's an important thing for us to understand. When amnesty is granted, not long ago, I was approached by some friends to say they have weapons and they don't know what to do. And I said to them, look, pray, because we are trying to encourage government to declare amnesty. In that sense, all law-abiding citizens should run and register and legalize their weapons, and they have no problems. So that is the whole idea, that please, if you have a weapon that your license has expired or you haven't registered, please go and register.
What if the gun has been involved in some criminal activity?
It's only the police that can tell.
Yeah, I mean.
So if you go and
You do forensic.
yes, and the weapon number or some reference is there, then they will let you know.
I mean, so in that case, do we say, well, it's the amnesty, so look, let bygones be bygones, or they say, no, hold on, that's for this gun, you don't qualify for amnesty?
I don't want to frighten listeners, because look, this weapon must have come to me as an inherited something.
Exactly.
So even if it has been involved in some illegal act, maybe I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should frighten people to say your weapon may have a problem. Let's just encourage people to do the right thing. Check if you have a license. If you don't, please go and register.
So walk us through a license. I mean, if I have a rifle at home, or am I allowed to own a pistol?
You're allowed to own a pistol, but the only person who can authorize you to own a pistol in this country is the Minister of the Interior.
That's right.
So if you want to acquire a pistol, you write to the minister and you get the necessary permission to do so.
And a rifle?
The rifles are usually the pump action, the single barrel, and the double barrel guns are licensed. We have licensed dealers in this country, also authorized by the ministry. They bring them in. So you can actually go to the market and buy some if you know a dealer.
And who would give me a register for that? Also the Minister for Interior, or that one the police can?
It's the police.
Oh, it's the police.
Yes.
So it's only the pistol that has to go to the Minister of Interior.
Yes.
Okay. How about?
And the permit for say the pistol is about 700 Ghana cedis, but for the single barrel pump action, I think it's about 200 Ghana cedis. So to get a permit and so on.
How about AK-47? Can I own one?
Assault rifles are not for civilian possession.
Okay.
And that's why we are concerned when we see these assault rifles in the proliferation of weapons. That you know what happens in the United States. Anytime somebody uses assault rifle, a lot of people get killed. So they are not meant for civilian possession. So that one, they are strictly for military use.
I see. Dr. Franklin, we are imitating from the West. It's more, fashionable to, break into a house and all, gun shooting and everything. Has it come to stay with us, or there's something we can do about it? We seem to be, it's a new culture we have adopted, and that's it. Other than us protecting ourselves, how do we stop them from attacking us with guns?
You see, against the background of what the minister was talking about, all effort is being made to ensure that this very proliferated arms will be used. In any country in the world, there cannot be zero.
No.
It's not possible. But a way can be adapted to, indeed, to reduce, to regulate, to ensure that it is really managed to the level. But then it's not, we're talking about still what we are. To me, I always look at it, we are not matured, but we are undergoing a transformation. We are gradually coming up that we'll get to that level, step by step. It's just like the disability stuff of policy. It took about America 13 years for them to be very active. Now that's become effective, that we see there. So as they are, in the same way, in this gun issue, it will take time, but it all goes to the election. But this announcement, amnesty is talking about, the question you raised. In fact, I also ask myself questions. And some of the questions I do was that right now, we all agree that there are a lot of these smuggled arms into the system. like you were saying, many have been arrested for the past years. But the question is, what have they done to them? We all hear, we read, and we experience it. Many inherited it, like you said, guns. They came to meet it, and they don't know what to do with it. Also, many also having them, and even they're expired. They have not bothered to go and renew. All this fall under this category of this amnesty. Now bring it forward. But then you see, there must be indeed a complete, to me, there must be a complete holistic policy. I see that the policy that is adopted by the Proliferation is what there's a fusion. There's a fusion of this kind of policy adopted, more especially as we are approaching election year. Now, the question is, should we have to, come up with this only when we are approaching election or an event like that? Meanwhile, many years, every day, every hour, people are owing guns. It's been with them. It's been with them. So why do we have to wait till this time so that we'll be able to? But I was thinking maybe it could be a cyclical, I always say a cyclical program that could be designed, that it will be going on, and not when an event like election, which is crucial in our economy, which is very, always people expect it. But in natural sense, elections are not meant for violence, but we have turned it to be something like that.
Doc, I'll come back to that election thing. It's a major point for me. But, I mean, if you live in a Dumasa, if you live in Kudikope and you have a rifle, why do you go and register it?
It's important.
Security management or weapons management requires that the state has data. Otherwise, a lot of crime is committed and we don't know the source or who perpetrated that crime. But let me come back to your question. Will it work? That was your question, right?
That's right.
Let me throw this out here and encourage the ministry that for the amnesty to work within this short possible time, they have to invest heavily in publicity. They have to publicize the centers where people can go and register their weapons throughout the country.
Yeah.
All the police stations that have the capacity to register weapons must be published in the newspapers as soon as possible, because 30 days is very short. And I know people say a journey of 1,000 miles begin with a step.
Because assuming all these 2 million people woke up and said, look, we're going to be good citizens, I mean, there'll be long queues of people with guns.
So capacity questions. That's exactly what I'm saying. It will work if the ministry, the police, and the National Commission on Small Arms are able to tell Ghanaians, these are the registration centers by the next 2 days. They have to put a lot of advertisement on radio, on TV, in the papers, so that people know where to go. Maybe I don't want you even to know I have a weapon and I'm going to register it. I want to go quietly and do it and go home. All right? So I need to leave my house and know exactly where I'm going, and I'll go and do my registration and come back. So I think those are the things that we need to call on the attention of the ministry.
Would you have to physically present the gun, or you can go and describe what gun you have?
Every weapon is supposed to have a receipt. The weapons are not picked in the streets. If you bought the weapon, it has to have a receipt.
Yeah. No, I mean like
an invoice and your payment. So there must be documentation on your weapon.
My grandfather was an arms dealer. I mean, he died in...
Fine. You go to the police and explain the circumstances. They know what to do. That I inherited this weapon, I want to now legalize it because it was willed for me. Yeah. So I want to legalize it. They will take you through the process.
I mean, I don't know if it was will. I mean, it's just in a corner of the room somewhere. So
you found it in the house?
Well, it was in the house somewhere. So I mean, it was in the house somewhere. In a beautiful case with his name engraved on it.
Very well. That's normally what they do. So it's an opportunity.
A beautiful case with his name engraved on it.
So the amnesty really.
But, I mean, do I need to physically take the gun?
Yes. Because you don't have documentation.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, but if you have documentation,
you can take only the documentation. I'm sure it will work.
And leave the gun. Yes. Oh, okay. So you are listening to me when you're in I see.
Of course, if the police think we are not telling the truth, they can correct us tomorrow. But that's what we believe.
Okay.
Yes.
You need a picture ID, something, or
I'm sure they will
find a way of
take your fingerprints and all these things. That I know they do.
Okay. Now the big question is, as we are going towards elections, and as usual with us, as Doctor said, elections are not meant to be fighting, but for us, you know, we turn elections into something else, as if Armageddon. People are very much unemployed now, and they may have a gun. I mean, does it have any correlation of election violence and illegal guns, or it hasn't been proven yet?
There is no correlation. Okay. I will only say that when people are unhappy and they have weapons and they boil over, the temptation is that they will use the weapons. So we need to avoid situations that will make people boil over, as you say. Because I don't think anybody at this point in time is sitting in his or her house saying, I have this weapon, and because elections are coming, I'm going to use it. I don't believe anybody is even thinking that yet. But what we are saying is that we should not create any condition that will make people boil over, which means I was pleased to listen to our electoral commissioner yesterday on Metro with Good Morning, Good Evening Ghana, and the way she went about explaining the processes and all that. I'm sure she did a good job, and if people have further questions, they should be able to ask. But the point is that if people are happy, there should be no fear. These weapons we are talking about, these 2 million we say we have, we've been living with it, like you said, for all these years. So definitely, our prayer should be that we should have free and fair processes, and everybody will be happy.
My wife says, "Are you serious? What do you need an AK-47 for?" You never know. You never know.
That's a good one.
You never know. Let me see if I catch up with some messages here. This one says, "Handling arms illegal can only be solved if citizens stop illegal handling of arms." Let me come to another one here. It says, "Nana, I think the police should be open enough to welcome reports on people who are in possession of weapons. I know if the police is open and do not consider people who report cases like this as first suspect, most people will come and lay reports.
Exactly.
We live with them and we know them." About telling on your neighbor?
Well, I think you will appreciate that policing has changed over the years, and now policing is becoming more community friendly.
That was from Akoto Razak in Tamale. He was saying that, look, if the police will make it a bit, give an
because there's been a norm that normally, apart from even the issue of arms, you realize that if you are living, all of us are living in a criminal environment, and you know that this Mr. A, brother B, is a criminal, you feel, but even though the police will say, okay, I have money attached, identify this, and people are scared because the same police will make them feel like, and then when they go instead, they will bring them into the matter. So in the same way, in this arms amnesty subject matter we're talking about, I am praying that if it's amnesty, it should be amnesty. When people bring the thing, they should not, try to ask many questions, this here and there. I have this, like you said, my daddy left it, but I don't know, it's at the corner there. I brought it. Now, straight away, they should go through the process. Not begin to, and you put some sort of fear, and many will hide it, and they will not bring it. And at the end of the day, we achieve nothing. So I'm pleading with the police to be, friendly, to be, cordial, in exhibiting this or exercising this kind of amnesty that is being stated by the minister.
So let's clarify for the public.
Yeah.
An amnesty means all laws and regulations are suspended.
Exactly.
So anybody who walks to any police station with a weapon seeking to re-license or re-register has nothing to fear.
Exactly. That's important.
If you have a problem, I think you should go talk to the minister.
Minister.
As to whether it works or not.
That's right.
That's good. Let me get another. This is another. Please ask doctor, who can own a gun in Ghana, and under what condition do you qualify to own one?
Yes, like I was saying, if today I or any one of us here decide before even you go to the police or to say you need a gun, yes, then you need to examine or re-examine yourself. Why do I need a gun? You need to ask yourself a few questions. What do I need a gun for? In this environment I live, what work do I do? What is it that I'm afraid of that warrants me to secure a gun? You know, these petty questions, because definitely when you go there, it are some of these things that you are going to be interviewed or be taken through as to subject you to ascertain whether you are qualified for. Now, you might be of sound mind. You must know what you're doing and what really will necessitate that you need a gun. All this will be taken to, and then of course they will take you through the background check, whether you have a criminal record or not. Maybe, so BNI will take over, they will pass it on to you to do your background check without knowing, and then they will put all these bits together. And when they are done, they will call you. We are done with your this one, and they will qualify you.
The criminal record, but I mean, yes. I need to take a break. So when I come back from, I mean, assuming I picked a pocket before, I mean, would you say because, no, this guy's a pickpocket, he can't own a gun? Who's sitting? We're coming straight back, and they will answer that. Proliferation of small arms and elections looming up, and safety in general. But just before the break, and I'm talking to Dr. Franklin Biney and Bafo Amwa. Just before the break, Doc, you raised the issue, but I got a message from Bertrand in Upper East, and it says the name is Avtomat Klanish.
That's right.
Coalition of
That's
19,
right. Thank you very
1947.
Much. Thank you.
It says 32 days is not enough. We need continuous advocacy and education. He goes on further to say, that's a very good step by the Ghana police, but the police officers who illegally keep arms should be set as the first example.
Exactly.
They should bring their guns first. They shouldn't be keeping their guns at home. They should probably hand it in before they go home. I don't know why we didn't give people. But with the issue of crime, if I, in secondary school days, I picked a pocket, and I was caught, and now I want to register a gun.
Yeah. They are category. We are classes of crime. Those crimes cannot be. But we're talking of crime that has been registered.
Maybe like an armed robbery.
That's right, or anything that has been registered, because they will go there. It is what they will depend on. Any crime that has been registered at the police, that's what they will use as an.
No, but what if my pickpocket was registered?
Of course, if you were taken there and you were registered as what you picked someone, it's on record.
I mean, so would I be allowed to own a gun?
It's one of the criteria.
It's not only that.
They will also check your psychological status.
Exactly.
They will go. You'll be questioned. You'll be tested. So I think that if you read the Constitution, it says if you are 18 years and of sound mind. So they have to ensure that you have a sound mind. Well, and they get these things through interviewing you and stuff like that.
They go by that. Nobody will own a gun. Or doom saw, petrol is going up, electricity is going up. We are of not sound mind. we are all of not sound mind. We are all stressed.
And this is stretching.
But like I was saying,
we are all stressed up.
The criteria adopted is there. However, I will always encourage that it must be reviewed, because as and when we are growing and the economy is changing and the crime wave is also changing, we need to subject the kind of forms and the criteria they've adopted in assessing one, whether it's qualified to own a gun or not, must be subject, my own thought, must be subject to review. Now the question is what are the background that necessitate a demand for a gun? With foreigner or Kenyan, both, what are the background, we need to know, determine, the police will determine that, whether you qualify, what criteria, to me, I ask, what is developed or formulated but for the requisition of guns? It is static or dynamic? Is it subject to review of what is there for many years, is still what is there? Again, development, I will think that they will have to develop or formulate a long-lasting kind of policy.
At 18, can I own a gun at 18?
Yes, you are qualified, because the Bible Constitution says at the age of 18, you have a son now, you are matured, can do everything. Below 18, no. But if only you are qualified with the age that you are qualified, 18, you have to. But then other things that will subject you to will determine and look at you. Why do you need a gun? Where do you live? And what necessitates you to? There are so many on and on. And one-on-one communication also psychologically will be adapted, will be used in what they will do what is called criminal scanning. And then they will be able to determine what your status is and therefore give you that. And a complete also, I would suggest to the stakeholders, there must be a complete and a holistic policy to mitigate the arms proliferation we are talking about for our beloved country, and not when we wait for a situation like this, then we'll do it. And then what about it? So it should be ongoing, a cyclical, I repeat. But above all, the steps taken by the government is in order, is good, but my concern lies in the package of the message or the approach. And of course, the time frame towards election. You see, these are the things that I look at.
Bafo, I need maybe a double barrel, a pump action as a chief for musketry purposes. When you're carrying the palanquin, they're firing. Okay. Is it a good reason enough to own a gun to get a license?
The law allows you, as a chief, to do that. What we are also advocating as a commission is that even all those weapons must be documented, because it's important that people don't take advantage of these chieftaincy requirements, of possessing these single and double barrels. So yes, the law allows you to own one.
Even though we are firing the blue bullets, the blanks, we don't fire the live ones.
And I think to add to that, you see, there's a difference between what they use in Asafo, all this kind of, you see, it's gunpowder.
Yes.
So you see, it's the sound, boom, boom. Unlike the one that is using cartridges, they sound different, and that can do much more harm. So I think that also reduces the kind of the level of harm, and therefore, of course, that doesn't mean therefore you don't have to register it, as you were saying. But then I think because of the crowd and because you wouldn't know when you go off, so they use gunpowder more than that of the cartridges and the pellets kind of bullets in the occasion like festivals. And always, I think they have been guided and be counseled to direct it to the atmosphere, to avoid kind of trouble like that.
What can the media do? What sort of message would go out there and calm nerves and build trust, so that somebody listening to me can actually, call the uncle or say, offer them or how can we tell them to build trust? Somebody may think it's a trap. Look, as soon as I get there, they're going to turn around and say, hey, you've had this gun for all these years, so you're not included.
Let me say that this is not the first time amnesty has been granted in this country. In 2003, amnesty was granted in this country, and if I'm not mistaken, we had almost 41,000 guns registered at that time. And this was under the theme Etuomu. There's darkness in the barrel, so barrel gun. So I think with this amnesty, what the media can do to help is exactly what we have said, that when an amnesty is given, there's no threat to a citizen who would like to regularize by registering a weapon or relicensing an expired license for a weapon. So people should feel free to go to police station and do so. Like I said, it's important that the ministry, the police, and the National Commission on Small Arms make every effort to publish as soon as possible centers where registration can take place. I don't think if you walk to any police station, there may be an officer who can register your weapon for you. So we need to know where the public should, visit and conduct this exercise so that it is peacefully done. And let everybody be assured that once an amnesty is pronounced by government, you have nothing to fear.
So the law is on your side.
The law is on your side, and people should take advantage and respond.
Respond to it. And is it in your advantage to have your gun registered?
Yeah, I think so.
The law requires you to do that.
Sure.
But if I've kept it for 100 years and
Because nothing has happened, you think, or you might, think it's comfortable. But when something happens and it's subject you to interrogation, investigation, that is where you see that it would have been necessary for me to have a license state. So it's good to abide by the law.
You can prove that it wasn't your gun?
They won't ask you questions. If you walk with it and say you want to register, to be registered.
Exactly.
Under an amnesty.
Yeah. But after an amnesty, as he stated, then, of course, the law will be taken full records.
No, that one will get MPP and NDC to give us extension.
And let's remind the public, if you are found with a gun, after this amnesty, you face
a minimum
of 10 years.
That's long. That's a long.
That's right. Minimum. So
if you're found with a gun which is unregistered,
yes,
not necessarily even committing any crime with it.
Yes,
that's right.
Just
and when you commit a crime, that becomes another charge.
Then there's every reason to register it, isn't it?
Yes.
And the mens rea also, the thought is also another charge. So concurrently, that's what
the media can help to educate
on that subject.
Sorry, I'm rushing you guys, but so what is the license? Are you giving it like periodically every year? You need to go back and renew it, or it's once and that's it?
Subject to renewal.
Annual.
It's annually.
I think it's
subject to renewal.
You take and say, look, I still have the gun, so renew my license.
Exactly.
Okay.
And of course, again, when you are with the license, like I said, the officers or the institution, that's the police, will really teach you when to shoot. Even in the police, in their training, it's not that, as we see recently, they have been indiscriminately. They know that when to shoot. And now you see that things are getting out of control.
Well, I hope by now you'll be, if you have a gun in your house, you'll be finding out with the local police to service it. Or if you have an uncle or grandfather or something who has a gun, give them a call and ask them to do the right thing. And the Tante's Fashion House, who makes my fine shirt, are called Tante's Fashion House, and their number is 024 366 2001. 024 366 2001. Give them a call wherever you are. They will send you your shirt. They tell them you want a shirt that Nanasaka was wearing, and they'll make you one, and you and I can own a shirt. But gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you too.
And to you at home, tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you so much for watching.